Welcome to the Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler.
What is up, Lock Shoppers? Welcome to the Lock Shop presented by Play Alberta, live right here in Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Manawanik in for Dustin Nielson as he's at the airport. I don't think he's in the air yet, but he's off to Montreal to get ready to call Als Bombers, the first game of the CFL semifinal weekend, which will get going on Saturday, followed by the BC Lions and the Calgary Stampeders, with the chance for all four of those clubs looking to punch their ticket to the East-West finals, respectively, whichever side of the table they are on. So I am in. Huss will join us momentarily here. We've got lots to get to on the show today. We will get into the Jays winning Game 5, taking a 3-2 lead of the World Series, a chance to win the World Series at home stadium. And they could do it as soon as tomorrow when they will host the Dodgers for Game 6. I should quickly look up who the projected starters are for tomorrow. But we do Haas will have a lot to talk about on that one. Yamamoto versus Gausman. That's what will be happening. You want to know, Yamamoto looked great in the first meeting, complete game. But Blake Snell also looked great through these playoffs until the World Series happened. And the Toronto Blue Jays hit off Blake Snell in both starts for Blake Snell. And then, so maybe tomorrow's the day that they surprised, or they've surprised enough people when it comes to forcing a Game 6 where they have the lead. How many people gave the Jays that much of a chance, when it comes to baseball? Pundits going into this series, every game, including tomorrow, still the Dodgers are the favorite going into each and every one of these games. So the lines have all been on the Dodgers, but the Jays have just been that team that have surprised. And, will they do it again tomorrow? Not in terms of winning the World Series, but getting to Yamamoto. Otherwise, it's going to be a very nervous day on Saturday. I will tell you that much. Also, Lock Shop Parlay hitting yesterday. Huss and I built the plan there, and it hit. I see Huss, he's moving his arm. We'll talk about the parlay right away here. But also on the show today, we'll talk NFL tonight. We've got the Ravens and the Dolphins. And I think today we'll spend time looking at the CFL playoffs, because tomorrow we will be focused on the NFL as well as Game 6, the series clinching day maybe, World Series clinching day maybe. That's what we'll spend most of our day tomorrow right here on the Lock Shop. But with that, let's bring him in. Huss with his Blue Jays hat on. And Huss, we laid the blueprint for the Toronto Blue Jays yesterday with our parlay. We said Blake Snell over 2 earned runs, Yesavage under 1.5. We had him at 4.5 strikeouts and the Jays winning. Well, as I think it was Duck Dad in the nasty chat, who would have thought also the under 2.5 earned runs for Yesavage would still hit with him pitching 7 innings in that baseball game. He was just a strikeout machine, but boom, 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 multiple checks on our parlay. That led to, I think it was plus 410 or so up on Play Alberta. So the Lock Shoppers that rode with us, they hit. Yesterday was a good day for Toronto Blue Jays fans, Huss.
Dude, it was, that was simply incredible. That was it. From the very first pitch of the game for Schneider to ambush Snell like that, I think was just a jolt throughout frankly, throughout the entire country, certainly through Dodger Stadium. And then for Vlad to do the exact same thing 2 pitches later, you couldn't have a more dream start. But again, against a team like the Dodgers, oh, great, you've got 2 runs.
Yeah.
The story of the game was what the kid did in the bottom of the first, and then in the second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth innings. It was as masterful a performance on the mound as we've ever seen. There's a number of things that he did that no one has ever done before. The strikeout numbers for a rookie in the World Series puts him just below 3 guys that did it like way, way, way back in the day. And let's not overlook who he was pitching against.
Yeah.
A team, the most expensive team ever created, with the greatest player of all time, with another World Series MVP, we know what the Dodgers bring to the table. It was stunning in its brilliance. And the story of Trey Yesavage, if this team can win one more game, he will be a rookie next year in the major leagues. And he will already be an all-time baseball legend without even playing his rookie season. I've run out of superlatives to describe it.
How many great rookie performances are there in sports through playoffs? Like, there aren't a lot, and he's putting himself as one of the greatest rookie performances ever that we've seen. And I officially for next season he is that rookie, but rookie through these playoffs, like Ken Dryden. I don't recall of anyone else that has stepped up as big as he has, not in just one game, not just in one moment. This guy has done it all playoffs that he has had to step up. That is incredible for a 22-year-old to step up. And you just think about a couple of the teams he did it against, just in baseball lore, the Yankees and the Dodgers, the markets and how big those are of the Yankees and the Dodgers. And that's who you did it up against. Like, we're not talking about going up against the Padres or the Mariners, but that's
Aaron Judge, Stanton,
yes,
Cal Raleigh, who had a historic season, 60 home runs. Yeah. J-Rod. Listen, the opponents that the Jays have faced have been big time ball clubs. They've been an underdog in every series.
They've been an underdog every game in this one.
And yeah, well, for sure, yeah, in the Dodgers series, but even through the Yankees and the Mariners series, everyone's been sort of waiting for the other shoe to drop. And Ken Wiebe was on the show yesterday, very jealous. Weber, thinking well in advance, booked a refundable ticket for this weekend, has a Game 6 ticket, so he's going to be there on Friday night. But he referred to the Jays, and I thought this was just so perfect. As a cockroach mentality. Like, you just can't kill these guys. And what they did in Game 4 and Game 5 after the disappointment of the 18-inning Game 3 that they were on the wrong end of, that would have killed so many lesser teams. And it's just made them better. And we're now 27 outs away from. Can you imagine how insane downtown Toronto will be if they win on Friday night, on Halloween night? It could be the biggest circus that this country has ever seen.
Yeah. Like you just think of what you want for a championship, and one of those would be you'd want it on a Friday night or something, because it just adds that, and they have it perfect with Halloween. Everyone's already knowing that they're going to go party. Where the stadium is, the amount of people that are just going to flood into the streets, it would be pretty epic.
The streets already, I can tell you, if last Saturday, we were in Jack Astor's at about 5:00. The game was at 8. Had something to eat and a few drinks beforehand. We left there at 7, so an hour before the game. And every bar that we passed had a lineup of 80 or 100 people outside it. On top of that, the 50,000+ that are going to Rogers Center, you add in all the other events, people dressing up, people partying outside of the World Series. And there is the potential, there is the ingredients for a party unlike anything that this country, I think, has ever seen. But just back to Yesavage for a minute.
I want to get to him too still.
He the strikeouts, and it's so funny. So we're on the over 4.5 Ks. He did that. He had 4 by the end of the second inning, and I believe he got the first guy out in the third. It was like, all right, well, that's kind of done. But the command that he had, and there was one moment, and I think he was pitching to Freddie Freeman, and he was up 0-2, and then he overpitched 2 balls. And I got to give credit to Buck Martinez, who was so on last night. And Buck, being a former catcher, said this is the time that Kirk needs to go out and talk to him. And he basically called a shot. And 5 seconds later, Kirk's doing the slow walkout, just getting him calmed down. They got him out afterwards. They talked about that mound visit on the Fox pregame show, post-game show extensively. And Yesavage said about it as well. But, I mean, the confidence, the ability, and just the stuff that this kid has, I mean, that's the best postseason start in the history of the Toronto Blue Jays, like irregardless of experience or Major League Baseball time. So
the three teams in baseball scored over 800 runs. The top two teams of that were the Yankees and the Dodgers. 849 runs this year, 825 runs this year. Yesavage in 16 and a third innings against those two clubs this postseason has 3 earned runs allowed. Like the two of the best hitting teams in all of baseball through the regular season, they haven't been able to hit off of him. And also, like, just on top of that, adding that to the rest of the pitching staff in games 4 and 5, the Dodgers with the chance to take a 3-1 series lead or take a 3-2 series lead, they have scored a combined 3 runs in the last 2 games. Again, the best hitting, they're the second best run scoring team in all of baseball this season. And they've only, at home, were only able to manage 3 runs. Like, it's incredible what the entire pitching staff of the Toronto Blue Jays have been able to do to those Dodgers bats. If you take away Ohtani, like, he's been the one that's really been that catalyst, and in the games that they have been able to score those runs. So it's just absolutely unbelievable. And I just quickly looked up the World Series MVP odds and the change on Play Alberta from yesterday. Vladdy Guerrero is now the favorite to win the World Series MVP at -204. Ohtani's in plus money at plus 230. Yesterday, Yamamoto was at plus 2,000. He has dropped to he's 12 to 1. He's dropped down almost, half price.
It kind of makes sense. That sort of makes sense because
doesn't it?
If Yamamoto goes and pitches a gem to force it to 7, you'll have him pitching incredibly in down 1-0 on the road and then going on the road facing elimination.
Yeah.
As great as Ohtani has been, I'm sort of with you on that, Yamamoto is probably more likely to win it than Shohei, although Shohei is going to get plenty of opportunities at the plate to hit and, what he's done already. But, I mean, he lost. Yeah, but Vladdy, I mean, right now you're looking at that number, and it basically speaks to that's essentially a Jays to win the World Series number. I mean, it's hard to imagine.
Jays winning the World Series is -238, which yesterday, because I think I bet it yesterday. Do I have it here quickly? Or did I bet it a couple of days ago? I got to find my bet slip here. It was, I'm not logged in. That's why. It was, I think, plus 2 something still, or maybe a plus 1 something. But a big shift there, and rightfully so. Like, that wouldn't change. Plus 145. So that has shifted quite a bit there the other way. It's going to be something tomorrow. It's going to be something. And the Jays definitely deserve the World Series if they get to Yamamoto tomorrow.
Oh,
right, like that's worthy of just that's the storybook ending to all of this. If you want to write that story about the Jays winning the World Series, it's the fact that they ended it with going up against Yamamoto, who's just been unbelievable in himself, complete game machine. Did it in game 2, getting to him. That's the story.
I mean, I think I said this yesterday, but I mean, he's at a peak Scooble Crochet level right now where he basically has just looked unhittable. And, after being in the building for game 2, coming back, I said, look, I think the Jays need 2 or 3 in LA because you just can't count on beating that guy. And you want to have another out. Like, it would be a very imposing situation going up against that guy facing elimination. The fact that they put themselves in a clinching spot with game 7, if they can't get it done, I think is so huge for Toronto. I think they'll be able to be a little bit more aggressive and a little more free swinging, not scared that every out is one out closer to the end of their season.
Yeah. Just quickly, Avs have signed Martin Necas, 8-year extension, $92 million.
8 years, 92. So that's what, 11.5 a year?
that what that works out to? Yeah. That's just happening. So they get that deal done from the Rantanen deal.
Marty Nakak and Thomas Harley just signed a massive deal as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
He got 10 or so.
Well, and we talked yesterday, Logan Cooley. He signed.
Yeah, that was 10, 8 by
Lane Hudson signed just a few weeks ago. A lot of names coming off the board. We had Kaprizov, Eichel. You guys had Connor out in Winnipeg. A lot of 8-year extensions for a couple of, at least because Chris Johnson just put out that the Kaprizov, Eichel, Connor, HS, all pending free agents next year. So July 1's going to be quite quiet. I will tell you that much right now.
I was about to say, you know who's pissed off right now? James Duthie. He's turning his notifications off.
You want to know something? He might not be there for July 1st this year.
Really?
World Cup. He's big. He's all in on the soccer stuff, and he's covering all that stuff. This might be a year he's off. He might not, because Canada, if they advance, they would play on the 2nd, I believe. There's a chance that they'd play on the 2nd. There's also a chance they'd play on the 1st. But this might be a year James Duthie is not on the broadcast, so he might be perfect.
Well, maybe
some
the NHL
sucker could deal with that one.
Maybe they realize that, first of all, it's Canada Day, the stupidest day ever to have NHL free agency on. That's another rant for another day. But everyone is going to be so locked into the World Cup, and all the free agents have signed already. There might not even be a need to do a show on TSN on the 1st of July, considering everything that's been happening over the course with all these signings. It's very clear the teams are aggressive. They don't want to get into a situation where they are ending up getting into the second half of the season of the trade deadline without their guys done. And, listen, it's not like guys can't get traded later on, but these players lock in, get their security, and getting a massive raise.
Here's a question I will throw your way. Is this good for hockey? Is teams locking up players and having the lack of movement good for this sport? Whereas other sports, more notably like the NBA, you see stars move around. And maybe in the NBA it moves around a little too much. Is this good for hockey to have players locked in and staying in and not to have a lot of movement?
Yeah, well, yes, but I'll say this. The reason why there's no movement in the NHL is because 60% of the league has no trades. To me, it's very different. It's not like these guys couldn't go to free agency and sign somewhere else if they wanted to. I think the teams are realizing that these guys are incredible assets and they need to invest in them. And I could just speak to Winnipeg. I was saying this after Kyle Connor scored that unreal OT winner on Tuesday on the show yesterday. Can you imagine what the vibe, the conversation around the team would be with the start that Kyle Connor's had through 10 games if he wasn't signed? It would completely take away from, frankly, what's going on the ice right now. It would just be a conversation of, is this guy gone? What's going to happen? So certainly for a market like us here in the Peg, it had to happen. And it's already had a real positive effect. And he's a guy that, fans love and, you pay to see, and you want to keep a guy around like that. But to your point about the lack of player movement, I do agree with that, certainly from what we're used to when we were growing up. But the biggest reason for that is that the no trades or no moves have been negotiated into pretty much every top player's contract. So
it's not every top player's contract. It's a lot of other contracts that are lower.
Well, in Edmonton,
and I'll go back to the famous one that I like, with all due respect to this player I'm about to name, but I remember back in the day, I think it was when he went to Pittsburgh, but Georges Laraque got a no trade clause. And it's one of those, I'm sorry, of all the players, no offense to Georges Laraque, lovely guy.
You're going to say no to Georges Laraque in that negotiation?
It's just one of those, that's a player that doesn't necessarily need a no trade clause. That's one. If that's the negotiating point where it's I'm not going off of this no trade clause, I'm probably okay, you want to know something? Find someone else that will you sign that. All the best. Good luck with that one. The fact it's weird that hockey GMs just love throwing no trade and no move clause. Hey, this city that I'm in loves to give away the no move clauses. Didn't Frederick get a no move on his 8-year deal? Jack Roslovic has a no trade clause that they just signed. I think it was until November, and then November 1st, it's actually, he's a fun one because I think he has a no trade clause until November 1st. Then November 1st, it turns to a 2-team no trade, or like he could pick 2 teams to go get traded to.
Okay.
So the city I'm in is a big culprit on that one. But like the NBA, I think Bradley Beal's no trade clause is gone. I think there's only like 1 or 2 guys that have a no trade clause in the NBA. Like of all those stars that you could think of, like Steph Curry does not have a no trade or a no move clause.
No, that's the thing. Like,
and how did that happen in hockey? How did this get accepted? And how could we possibly close this little bit? Because this is, I do believe if you're certain players, you want control. Like to me, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has been a long time Oiler and he wanted to stick here. That I understand that one. I just also think though that like if the best players in other sports don't get them, why is every single hockey player able to get one? And I don't think you can fix that.
It's it certainly impacts teams like ours here in Winnipeg, and I would say yours in Edmonton in non-McDavid times. I mean, Edmonton's not on people's list because they know if they go there, they're going to have a chance to play with the best player in the world, another top 5 player in the world, and have a pretty damn good chance to win. So it's not like it might have been before. But I mean, think about the decade of darkness. Mm-hmm. You don't think the Oilers would have been at the top of every list of no trades?
Yep.
Absolutely, they were.
They were.
So, I mean, great players and success can change things a little bit, but all markets are not created equal. And if guys have their choice of, hey, I'm going to make this much money, and no, I don't want to be there. And yeah, it does make certain GMs' jobs much more difficult, and it does sort of upset the balance of power, I think, a little bit in the league. So there is an element though, like how do you get the toothpaste back in the tube? Yeah. So, I mean, with all the contracts that are done so far.
Jack Roslovic is a no move clause, but on November 1st, so in 2 days, he has a 4-team trade list. That starts November 1st. So he's going to get a 4-team trade list. I've never seen one that low, but yeah, so he's his no move is coming up. The Oilers are free to trade him if they want, even though they just signed him. Right? Yeah, it's a 1-year deal and they just signed him. So
that was sort of a weird, and I guess what he's saying is, listen, if I'm coming here and I'm saying I'm going to play for this much money, I don't just want to get signed and then flipped somewhere.
Well, I think part of it, though, too, is he has no team. He didn't play a training camp, so he needed to get playing hockey. And it was almost, in effect, a little bit of a tryout with the Edmonton Oilers. And if things didn't go well between the Oilers and him, it opens up the ability that over the course of the next few weeks, if they really want to, that they could work together to be like, okay, you could. It's basically, this was a glorified PTO in a way through the regular season, where the Oilers still get some control over this player, but the player also gets control of where he'd want to go to next. So it's just funny when you see the player sign in the beginning of October and he gets a 1-month no move clause and then a 4-team trade list. And yet Trent Frederick has one. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Oilers that have some sort of trade protection. Supersized Indiana Jones saying, look at the Lightning. They have a lot too. It's not just the Oilers. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 players with them, but not as many no moves. There's a lot more no trades or modified no trades when you look at the Tampa Bay Lightning. Breaking news for those that missed. Natchez with the Colorado Avalanche, 11 point, or what was that number? 92 years, 8 years, so 11.5 million per season. He's sticking it there.
I was just going to say Penner's Pancakes with a great point. So what does Kempe ask for now? I think the Kempe deal is going to be the 12 that Kyle Connor got. I would be surprised if it's less than that. But I think, we sort of have that market for player. I mean, listen, Kempe is unbelievable, and he's going to be the face of the franchise as of next year when Kopitar shuts it down. This is his final year.
Well, is he the face of that franchise? Or is he going somewhere else? No, Kempe.
Well, I'm assuming that they re-sign him and stay. I mean, he
does. Yeah. So I'm just wondering if that's a guy that sits there and goes, where's LA going? Where's this team heading? do I want to go somewhere else? And it's been speculated, like, should like a team like the Edmonton Oilers? What does a Kempe do for the Edmonton Oilers?
Can you guys afford another $12 million player?
Yeah, because Connor left money on the table.
Well,
Connor McDavid left the money on the table so Kempe could come to the Edmonton Oilers.
In reality, that is a great point. I mean, McDavid should be making whatever the 20% of the cap is, so probably a salary in excess of 20 mil. So if that just allowed them to add an Adrian Kempe.
The Oilers have $17 million in cap space at the moment for next year, just shy of 18.
How many players signed?
They have overall 16 of the 23 players on their active roster. They don't have a single goalie signed for next year, so that will have to be dealt with. Brett Kulak's a free agent, Stetcher's a free agent, but their top 4 defensemen are all signed, and they've got 6 top forwards signed. 7 if you put Colson up there. A couple of younger guys. Like, their UFAs for next year only Henrique, Roslovic, Kapanen, Tomasek, Lazar, Philp, Kulak, and from a defensive and a forward perspective, it's not that much.
Yeah, it's the bottom of the lineup.
Can you go put, you get, maybe you have to dump a different contract there. Janmark's 1.45 would have to come off the books. They also say the cap might go up a little bit more next year. Could you fit in a Kempe at 12.5 and go get a goalie for $5 million?
Well, yeah, you could, but again, then you're at the cap and you still need 5 more spots on your roster to be filled. You got a $5 million goalie in Kempe. That just ate up your $17 million. So
it's just shy of 18. So if I said 12.5 and 5, that puts you 17.5. So now you need to move on from a couple of other guys.
Can you get a couple? Can you just go through it? There's been so much talk about goaltending. Can you just say goaltending doesn't matter? We're going to get 2 league min guys and just try and outscore everybody every night.
You want to know something, Huss? Some other fans would sit there and say the Oilers already have 2 guys that are league min in terms of quality when it comes to the Oilers goaltending. And they are trying to just outscore. That's what some Oiler fans might say. Okay. I want to get to, do you want to start with CFL? Let's start with CFL before we get to the Thursday nighter.
Yeah, definitely. Let's. What do we have here tonight? I'm just looking ahead.
We got
pretty good night in the NHL too. Lots of games tonight, so we can finish up with that.
Sweet. Okay. Al's Bombers. Al's -6 for the first game that will take place at 12 o'clock. Lions Stamps the second game. Lions -7. That's at 3:30. Those games moved up just in case there is a game 7 of the World Series. Bombers. Al's. Pardon?
Did you say BC -7?
Yeah.
Wow. That's the biggest number that I've heard. I was looking yesterday. It was like 4.5 or 5. Listen, I'm not surprised it got there. I'm just a little surprised it got there that quickly. I was figuring this would finish in and around 6 after being at 4.5. But
it'll probably come down.
It's a pretty big. That's a pretty big bump for BC. I want your take. I mean, listen, I'm not even close to impartial on this East Semi. I mean, we're dreaming and concocting paths to victory for the Bombers in Montreal and then through Hamilton to get back to the Grey Cup. But I'm interested in your thoughts on this game because, Montreal has been so good when Alexander has been in. I mean, the guy's record speaks for itself. He hasn't lost as a starter. And you got a Winnipeg team that was wildly inconsistent. Their defense is better. They're sort of built for playoff football, but I mean, what offense are we getting right now? I mean, if they can be their best, I think they'll have a chance to win, but I certainly understand why they're 6-point underdogs. But from someone with no skin in the game, is this Montreal all the way, or do you think the Bombers have a chance to maybe make something happen at playoff time?
Yeah, and just quick forecast, they're under a rainfall warning right now in Montreal, but Saturday now looks like the rain's going to stop at this moment, and it's just going to be cloudy and 6. But I don't know what the drainage system's like out at where the Owls play, Percival Molson. It's a tough one. Like I'm very high on Davis Alexander as a quarterback. I went last year as soon as the season ended. I was a Trey Ford guy for the Elks. I said I'd be willing to move on from Trey Ford last offseason immediately if Davis Alexander could cut loose. Like I was just high on Davis Alexander. And what we have seen from him this year has proven that, Jason Moss and Danny Machocha, they did the right thing by sticking with Davis Alexander, because this guy is just a solid starting quarterback in this league. And as you said, his record speaks for itself. And for those that don't know, he has never lost as a starting quarterback in the Canadian Football League. That is just absolutely incredible. He's got a great receiving core that he could throw the ball to. Montreal's got a solid defense. Jason Moss, ever since he's gone to Montreal, has proven to become an outstanding head coach. If it was just Winnipeg, Montreal, I'm going to take away the history of the last few years out of this, and I'll get to that right away here. It'd be easy, Montreal to me, -6 covering without question. Winnipeg just hasn't been good enough this year, too inconsistent. It looks like the age is starting to get there with Zach Collaros. You can get the brilliance from them. You can get that 40-3 game against the Hamilton Tiger Cats still from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. But I wouldn't project that going up against Montreal just heading into this matchup from this season. But the one thing I do wonder about is the pedigree that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have in the month of November. And I'm going to take Grey Cups out of this, but they get to Grey Cups. They've done it for 5 straight years. And in some of those, we've thought, okay, is this the year that the Bombers are going to be knocked off? Is this the year that the Bombers are going to get caught by BC Lions or the Saskatchewan Roughriders? And it's always, nope. In the end, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers found a way to get back to the Grey Cup. And that's the part. That's where I go, what if with this Winnipeg Blue Bombers team? And so I think this is, to me, the East final in a way. I think the winner of this game ultimately is going to beat the Hamilton Tiger Cats and get to the Grey Cup. If the Bombers find a way to win this, to me, it's playoff Bombers type thing. Like Brady Oliveira's going, he's rolling. They have that offense going to do what they need to get victories. It's not, you don't need Zach Collaros to be 400 yards passing and 4 touchdowns. They'll do what they need to go win those football games. They're just solidly coached. With all of that said, and then combining it all, I think Montreal still wins. But I probably, at the number of 6, probably take the Bombers to cover that. I think this is a game that comes down to the late 3-point football game or something like that. I think the Bombers have just too much. They've done too well over the last number of Novembers for me to think that they're going to lose by more than a touchdown in this playoff game.
To me, I really like the Bombers' chances if the game is really tight and close.
That's fair.
To me, I mean, you look at the 49.5 total. If this game is under, I mean, to me, the Bombers are going to win a game 22-20 or, 25-23, something like that. And I'll tell you what, if it does come down to the last minute of the game, Sergio Castillo is the best long-distance kicker, and he's kicked some big ones in some pretty gnarly conditions. And that'll be something they'll have to lean on.
But so is the other guy. That's the great. If you're looking for who are the best 2 kickers for the long kicks in the Canadian Football League, they're meeting in this one. The other part of it is that how many has Maltos made in these sort of pressure situations? Yep, that's fair. And you could use that though to Davis Alexander too. Davis Alexander, while undefeated, has yet to play in that CFL playoff game. What's he going to look like once the season is on the line?
Remember Chad Kelly's first start in the playoffs after winning the MOP 2 years ago? Yep,
it was god awful.
5 picks or something like that. And they now listen, I'm not suggesting that is going to happen. I am suggesting that the Bombers are going to need to win. The defense is going to have to be the best version of themselves that has been pretty consistent throughout the second half of the season. And the offense is going to have to find it in them to dial it up like they did against the Ticats about a month ago, because it's just been AWOL too often this year. I mean, if the Bombers are going 2-out and they're just, Davis Alexander is getting multiple chances with the ball, it'll be a long night. And I mean, this is not going to be a game. I don't think the Bombers can win a shootout with the Montreal Alouettes. I mean, Bombers aren't going to beat them 38-35 in this game. They're going to keep it down. But to me, can they run the football? Can they be effective on second and short? Can they move the chains? Can they win the time of possession? Can they keep Davis Alexander on the sidelines? Can they keep their own defense fresh? To me, all the pressure on this is on Collaros and the Bomber offense to be a unit that matches the level of their defense. And if that's the case, they will have a chance to win. But I am with you. I mean, I think if you look at the body of work and the rosters, the play overall, Montreal should be a favorite right now. But again, the playoffs are a time that, especially in the CFL, crazy things can happen.
There's two players that we'll be talking about if the Bombers win that had big games. Brady, obviously. That is a simple one. Yep. If Brady's going off for 100 rushing yards, 60 receiving yards or whatever, like there's a really good chance the Bombers win that game. And you mentioned his name yesterday, but a big playmaker, Vival. If he has, and it's not even a touchdown, but he has that game, the field flipping play that occurs, that he's capable of, that we've seen so much of over the last X number of months here now in the CFL. That's going to give the Bombers a good chance to go win those football games. I think those are two names that we'll be talking about on Monday. Should we be talking about the Winnipeg Blue Bombers moving on to the East Final?
Speaking of Vavel, and we touched on this, I was trying to get a line on this about a month ago. What are the chances of Trey Vavel winning both the Rookie of the Year and the Special Teams Player of the Year? He's the finalist for both of those.
As he should be.
I did, and I'll tee up an interview we've got on this game with Marshall Ferguson coming up on WST. I talked to him earlier this morning. He did point out that Montreal spends probably more time on kick coverage units than any other team in the CFL. They practice it each and every day, and they've been the best at limiting returns. So the Bombers will have their hands cut out for them. Just with the weather, with it being wet as it's expected to be, although I guess now it might just be kind of windy and cold. I mean, ball security, and we could be talking about a fumble or something from a guy that normally doesn't touch the football. That could be huge. I mean, it's always cliche. Oh, win the turnover battle. You got to do that. But come playoff time, when the conditions are not ideal, often, one mistake, one way or the other can be the difference. So I'm really looking forward to this game. And I'll tell you what, I think this game between Calgary and BC is going to be awesome. I am on BC. I've been on BC, although I'm a little shocked that it's already gone up to a touchdown. I kind of felt that I was good with BC anything under a touchdown. And I guess a lot of other people are too, because now we're looking at 7 points right now. But I do feel like this is Nathan Rourke's game to lose. Although Calgary's shown that at times this year, they've been a really, really good team. To me, it's just where these teams are at right now with the trend of the BC offense. It's very hard to go against Nathan Rourke in that dome.
Yeah, if you said that this was going to be the East or West semi back in like early September, I'd be all over Calgary. I'd be all over what the Stamps were doing. But they have faced too many injuries on the defensive side of the ball, especially on the D-line. And since those Labor Day, the rematch against Edmonton, the Stamps team has not looked anything like that we saw through the first half of the season. The team that beat the Bombers 3 times, the team that beat the Riders twice, they haven't looked close to that. And I know they're capable of it. I know that they have it in them because we've seen it this season of putting up big points and having a great defensive performance. But I'll even just go to last week when Calgary had something to play for here in Edmonton, and Edmonton had nothing to play for. And Calgary's up 16-0. Edmonton was getting back into that football game, and they only put up 4 points in the second half. Like, I was not impressed with the Calgary Stampeders last week. Now, you get the VA, Nathan Rourke, VA revenge against his old club to knock him out. But I don't think that's good enough. I don't think it's a fascinating story because if VA we talked about that matchup a few weeks ago, but now it's the season. Winner moves on, loser goes home. It'd be a great feather in the cap for Vernon Adams to knock out his former club, but I just don't know how right now in a dome you stop Nathan Rourke's offense where he's got McInnes, he's got Hatcher, he's got Katoy, he's got Barry Harold III, he's got James Butler. Like, that offense is going to go put up points, and Nathan Rourke can do it with his legs as well. He can go run. And that defensive line is the best in the Canadian football. Like, they get sacks, they get to people, they get to quarterbacks. So I do understand why this line on PA has moved to where it is. I think it's probably going to go closer with the Als -6. I have a feeling like the Lions game probably will come back that way. I would think at some point in the next couple of days. But I feel if the Lions win, they're winning by big. They're winning by 10 plus almost in my eyes. That I would take. I'm on the BC Lions to win. I'm on the BC Lions on a spread. I think we get Saskatchewan, BC, Montreal, Hamilton next weekend for the right to go play in the Grey Cup. But I think we're in for two exciting football games, and it is going to be fascinating to watch. So that, again, 12 Edmonton time, 1 o'clock Winnipeg time, Winnipeg, Montreal, and then it'll be followed by Calgary, BC, 3:30 Edmonton time, 4:30 Winnipeg time. I was going, so I think we're both on Winnipeg and BC. If we did Bombers plus 6.5 and we brought the lines to minus 6.5 for a little bit of a parlay for the weekend, you good with that?
Oh, yeah. I'm just locking that in right now. Bombers plus the points, laying the points with BC.
Perfect. I'll get that over for everyone there when it comes to the CFL. Thursday Night Football, the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Miami Dolphins. When you look at the record of these two teams, it doesn't look so great. You got a 2-5 and a 2-6 team, but the Baltimore Ravens, they're getting healthier. And minus 400, the Ravens are on the money line. Minus 7.5. The over-under set at 51. This one out in Miami. Hosty, the Ravens keep it, build off of last weekend's win against the Bears and start their path to getting back in the picture of the playoffs for the AFC.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, I think the biggest part of that was that they did it without Lamar. I mean, that's a whole nother story about how that was handled. And it seemed like, they cleared him and were pressuring to play, and he said he wasn't able to go. So we're looking at 2 years or so of like kind of Lamar and the team and the coaching staff not being on the same page with him being able to play. But he's going to be back tonight, and that is huge. And, especially considering he didn't just play on Sunday. So it's not a quick turnaround from a Sunday to a Thursday game that maybe most of the other players will be dealing with. The Ravens got another favor with the Pittsburgh Steelers losing, the Cincinnati Bengals losing. They really are right back in the mix.
Well, do you know what's fun? They're the favorite to win the division again.
Again, that's
right. Like right now, they're minus 118 to win the AFC North. The Steelers are plus 175. The Bengals are plus 600. Right now, it's the Steelers are 4-3. The Bengals are 3-5. The Ravens are 2-5. The Ravens are, though, the favorite to go win the AFC North, and part of that is they're healthy, but their schedule, it's very favorable to the Baltimore Ravens to get some victories, and that Bears victory without Lamar, like when I saw that Lamar was out, I was like, oh, that's the season to me. Like for the Ravens, we're gonna go lose to the Bears, and it's over. Like it's gonna be too much to come back from. It was such a massive win to get with Hundley in behind center, and now they're set up in a spot here where, like when you look at that odds of the Ravens being favored, it does make sense because the Ravens they're too good when healthy to be this bad.
How much healthier are they on defense?
They've gotten quite a few bodies back over the week, over the number of weeks. Like it's not a lot of bodies back from Sunday to Thursday this week. It's quite a bit of bodies back from like 3 weeks ago to today or last Sunday.
That's good because they lost all those guys in the Chiefs game, and it seemed like that just devastated them for the next couple of weeks, including the loss of Lamar. So I certainly expect Baltimore to win this game. I'm trying to wrap my head around, can the Dolphins keep this one close? I mean, they're coming off their best game of the season. Like they haven't quit on Mike McDaniel. I know a lot of people thought that was going to happen. And they go in and beat the Jekyll and Hyde Falcons last week by 24 on the road. Yeah. They're probably feeling as good as they have all year. Tua actually looked pretty good last week. I think he had 4 touchdowns to 4 different receivers. But I mean, Baltimore is the better team. We are expecting the Ravens to turn back into the Ravens. And I guess we shouldn't be surprised if they just run away with this game. It is a short week. It is on the road. So to me, it's not an easy pick. I think I might actually take the points with the Dolphins, but I don't think for a minute that the Ravens don't find a way to win this game.
Well, look, a couple of weeks ago, I think it was 12.5 points on Thursday when the Bills met the Dolphins. And Dolphins got the ball back with the tied football game. They ultimately lost by 10, but they covered. And there is something about those Thursday night, short turnarounds, that help. I will say, as a Ravens fan, though, I expect to see a beatdown from the Ravens on the Dolphins. Partly because while it is a short turnaround for most of this team, it isn't a short turnaround for Lamar Jackson. He's fresh. If he's back and he's healthy, he's fresh back and healthy. And I expect them to send a statement to the entire National Football League we were down, but we were not out. We are back. We are going to march to these playoffs, and we are a team to be feared once again. And when you get a primetime game, that's when you make that message, and you do it against the Miami Dolphins team that I expect, and as a Ravens fan, will be very upset, even if they get a victory, if it's not by a beatdown by 10 plus. Like, this is a game where if you want to be a team that still has hopes of a Super Bowl, which is wild to say about a 2-5 team, but they still have those hopes. I expect them to dominate in this game. So just from a pure fan perspective, if there's a cover, I will be a rather frustrated tonight, even if they pick up the victory, that I didn't see a better result from this team in terms of that messaging.
I will say this for Miami. I mean, they got killed by the Colts in week 1.
Yeah.
But they lost to the Patriots by 6.
That close.
Bills game was tight, right? You know what I mean? They lost by 10 in Buffalo. They beat the Jets. I mean, they lost to the Panthers by 3. They lost to the Chargers by 2.
On a late
play.
They
got embarrassed by the Browns, but then came back with that big win over Atlanta. So, listen, I don't feel good about this pick. If you're asking me to go on one side or the other, I'll take the home dog and the points. But when I'm talking to you tomorrow, if we're talking about a 35-6 win for the Ravens, I won't be surprised.
And just that Ravens schedule, it's Dolphins this week, then it's the Vikings, then it's the Browns, then it's the Jets, then you get Bengals, Steelers, Bengals. And then they'll wrap up with Patriots, Packers, and Steelers. There's wins to be had for the Baltimore Ravens to get right back in this. And they blew it early on. You know, if they beat the Bills to start the season, just that one extra win, things would be a little bit path would be a little bit easier for the Baltimore Ravens. But they got to go get these victories. Any props for the players that you're looking at for today?
Well, I'm looking at Derrick Henry.
Before we get to that, props also, you had the Vlad Jr. home run.
Oh, yeah.
Yesterday, right? Like, we're praising the lock shot parlay, and then you put the Vlad Jr. and boom, cash. So just want to give that one out there.
We didn't get the Kirk, we got the Vlad, and I mean, listen, the home run. I wish I was on a Davis Schneider one. That would have been incredible to cash in on the first pitch of the game. Unbelievable. But Derrick Henry the rushing number is in around 90. I think this is a game that he touches 100. Actually, I think you can get like around plus 115 or something like that for him to get 100 or 101 on the ground. I don't mind that. His touchdown number is so chalky. You basically have to bet 2 touchdowns for Derrick Henry to make it worth your while. But I thought the same thing about Jonathan Taylor last weekend, and he went for 3. So I'm in on Derrick Henry. And I think if they can really establish that run with Lamar coming back in off injury, I mean, I don't think they want him running around and taking hits and all that. So I think Henry will probably get maybe a little bit more of the load than he usually does. And I think the Miami Dolphins are a perfect team to do that. So give me the Henry props. I will maybe take a little splash on him to score 2 and get over 100 yards on the ground tonight.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson is over. It's minus 185 for him to throw for 2 touchdowns in tonight's game. I want to see a little bit of beatdown. I want to see the Ravens score points, which means I think Lamar Jackson's going to throw a few touchdowns. Because I'm not expecting Lamar to. I think you're right on what you said about Derrick Henry. Protect the Lamar a little bit more, especially for game 1. Let Henry get that ball. I'm not expecting Lamar to run as much. So with that, I think a guy like Zay Flowers could be a touchdown reception tonight. Like I think plus 118 for him to score a touchdown. Lamar is going to. Again, I think he's going to try to make a statement himself. So I do like a Zay Flowers anytime touchdown. Looking at this game, what piques your interest overall in the NHL tonight? Jets home to the Blackhawks will be here on Saturday. Oilers, they've got the Rangers tonight. Big slate of games across the NHL. Anything standing out to you? By the way, Matt Barzal, I believe a healthy scratch.
Yeah,
going into tonight's game.
Late to the rink. Patrick Waugh told them, don't bother dressing for tonight's game. You're not
respect that.
Which has made the Hurricanes even a bigger favorite than they were. The Jets game's really intriguing. Of course, this is Taves' first game against his old team, the Chicago Blackhawks. So I'm just looking to see what we've got for a Jonathan Taves goal in and around plus 350. May have to put together a little Jets to win and Taves to score operation for tonight. I watched that. The most disappointing part of the entire Frozen Frenzy was the Vancouver New York Rangers game. That was a game that we all thought would have a lot of juice. JT Miller back in was an absolute dud. 1-0 game. They got an empty netter. So I do like the Oilers, especially coming off that win against Utah. I mean, you kind of said this was the first time the Oilers kind of looked like that team that, we've seen in the past. The other team I like, Tampa hasn't been very good this year. Dallas is getting back to their defensive structure. Jake Ottinger had a shutout 1-0 over Washington on Tuesday. I don't mind Dallas at plus 125 in Tampa for tonight's game. And as I mentioned, I love the Oilers. What are you seeing for the Oilers? Around minus 160 or so?
Edmonton Oilers tonight, minus 167 on the money line. Okay. Over under is 5.5 in this one. Dusty does have a bet up, EST specials and Play Alberta. Oilers to win Nuge. 1+ point is early bird bet of the day. That's at plus 120 right now over Beautiful. At PA.
And Flames are in Ottawa. And listen, Ottawa had scored 7 in back-to-back games. Then they got lit up by the Blackhawks on Tuesday. Normally, I would say, okay, I could see them coming back at home against a lesser team. I just don't really trust the Ottawa Senators, especially without Brady Oliver or Brady Tkachuk.
Brady Oliver. Duck Dad, he's saying Wolf not in for the Flames though tonight.
Oh. Well, then I do feel a little bit better about the Sens.
Yeah, he just threw that one out in there. Huss, what's coming up on WST today?
Well, we're going to talk CFL with Marshall Ferguson. We'll break down the epic win last night by the Toronto Blue Jays with some highlights, and we'll focus in on the Jets and Chicago Blackhawks tonight with Jonathan Taves facing the Blackhawks. We'll head out to Chicago. Brandon Ricky's going to join us. And then we'll get into a little NFL talk with Thomas Tipple of Fantasy Points towards the end of the program. I'm locking this in, Lock Shoppers. Dallas, Edmonton, and Ottawa. Little parlay, little 3-gamer to try to get us a dub tonight on an off day in the World Series.
Haas, you enjoy the show coming up. We will talk with you tomorrow right here on the Lock Shop.
Looking forward to it. The Friday NFL picks have been really good the last few weeks. We're going to try and keep it rolling tomorrow.
We got that and Champagne Day for the Toronto Blue Jays. Lots to get to in the Lock Shop. Haas, enjoy WST.
Later.
Haas, Remus, they're coming up. Go check them out. Winnipeg Sports Talk on YouTube. We will get our parlay, Lock Shop parlay for the CFL. Winnipeg plus 6.5, BC minus 6.5. We'll get that boosted. Huss just threw Dallas, Edmonton, Ottawa. We'll throw that up there. Also on EST specials and get that boosted for you as well. I mentioned what Dusty's early bird bet is. We will have Jay's play of the day still going up there. We got the EST afternoon, screw it, let's do it parlay. That will come up with Hernan after he stops yawning from over there with Gager and Coob. Coming up next right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, presented by Play Alberta. We got 2 guys and a goalie. We've got EST afternoons. We got the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Mill until 6 o'clock. Then we also have the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Tommy Gazzola will get you set for Oilers Rangers. 7 o'clock on our audio streams, we'll have the Turf District, and then we'll have the GCL Diesel Oil Stream postgame show for you as well, right here on EST, presented by Play Alberta. On behalf of Huss, I'm Matt. Thanks for tuning in to the Lock Shop on this Thursday. We greatly appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Enjoy the games tonight. 2 guys coming up in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.